So new e-mountain bikes just keep on coming, but are riders progressing at the same rate as the new bikes? But before we get into the discussion, also on this week's EMBN show, we'll be taking an in-depth look into the new Whyte e-mountain bikes, along with the new bikes from Mondraker.
And also some big, exciting news from Specialized too.
Yes, not mountain biking, but could be the future of mountain bike, Chris.
Definitely, I reckon.
Nice. So the question is, Chris, is what hasn't been done on an e-mountain bike that has been done on a mountain bike?
Well, I think it's definitely still early doors, isn't it, at the minute?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking such things as big trials moves, river crossings, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And I think all the big trick stuff as well, the big freeride sort of side of the sport is definitely catching up on the e-bike world for sure.
Yeah, but first of all, let's have a look at the classics, the likes of cross-country and downhill and enduro. I mean, when you look at cross-country, look at hill climbing, we've done some pretty big hill climbs, haven't we?
We've done some massive stuff, haven't we? I think things that we definitely wouldn't have done on normal mountain bikes has definitely opened my eyes.
Yeah.
I think with the new motors and the new technology coming on, it's going to be even more insane.
You know, we've done climbs such as the Rock, definitely undoable on a non-e-bike.
The slab.
The slab, yeah. And last week, I was only down in Andorra riding the Val Nord World Cup downhill track on the new Common Sal bikes, and I can tell you that is pretty full on. And of course, Josh Bryson, you know, a former world champion and World Cup downhill champion, riding e-mountain bikes.
Yeah.
But then again, there's lots of e-mountain bike ambassadors from the downhill world, right?
Yeah, we've got Aaron Gwynn. Who else is?
Fabio Varel, Nico Voulias.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about the list later.
Yeah.
But Chris, let's focus on the things that have not been done.
Right.
And I'm thinking those big rotational moves on Freeride.
Yeah, if we go into more of the free-ridey dirt jump side, well, not dirt jumping, but all those big aerial moves that you see in the videos, I think it's those moves that we haven't quite seen. We've got guys like Sam Pilgrim doing the back flips and the front flips and the tail whips, but if you go further into the dirt jump world, you've got guys doing triple back flips on BMXs, you've got guys doing quad tail whips on mountain bikes, you've got guys doing no-handed 1080s, so like 4 spins. It's just that kind of rotational thing I don't think we're going to see coming across 3 bikes, you know, like spinning a single tail whip, which is where you hold on to handlebars, kick the frame round in a 360 and get back on. Is quite a big move just on a normal e-bike, but guys, as I say, on normal mountain bikes, you're doing 4 of them in one jump.
Wow.
So I don't think that kind of rotational forces and the spinning forces.
So what about those forces? I mean, you've seen motocross riders doing double backflips, and obviously you've seen the BMXers do, are they quadruple backflips?
Yeah,
but then those bikes are like 10 kilos?
Yeah, not very heavy.
But it's trying to do that.
Yeah.
But then a guy on a motocross bike's done it twice. So
I think that kind of axis is going to be fine, like the flip axis. But I think when you start trying to spin it 360, that's where you're going to feel the weight of the bike. But I think that definitely guys will do 720s for sure, but I don't think we're going to see 1080s on an e-bike.
I hope you guys are keeping up with all these numbers. This is just mind blowing to me.
What's your thoughts on seeing the guys come in from e-mountain bike to like e-trials?
I can't wait for the day the likes of Danny McCaskill and Chris Ackrig get on e-mountain bikes, because I'm sure it won't be too long before they're doing different things, I think, to what they do on the bicycles, because what do you call it when you push the pedal down and you hop inside?
Like back hop, rear hop.
That is a certain technique which I don't think would be able to be applied to an e-mountain bike because of that lift. You generate that sort of push down and pull as you're doing that. I don't think you can do that on an e-mountain bike. I think when you go to big climbs, big rock climbs.
As you say, like the big explosive moves, I think are going to be quite hard to replicate on an e-bike. You know, you've got a lightweight trials bike that can hop up, you know, talking bunny hops up like head height stuff, you know. Yeah. On an e-bike, you're never going to do that.
Enough of the numbers, Chris. Put your money on the table. What are the key moments, the key e-mountain bike moments of the last few years? So for me, I'm looking at the classics, the cross-country and the downhill, and the likes of Julian Absalon, Jose Hermida, you know, world cross-country champions who are now ambassadors for e-mountain bikes. And they're doing it, you know, and they still continue to ride their non-e-mountain bikes as well. And also, you know, the likes of Marco Fontana, you know, a very well-known Italian cross-country racer who's now doing e-mountain bike enduro racing.
Definitely some cool key moments. And I think for me, the big thing that changed, well, like the perception of the e-bike to the younger generation, I think was Sam Pilgrim signing for High Bike when he did did that immediately, it kind of opened up that audience, the younger audience, and thinking, well, they're actually pretty cool. And the things that Sam has done for e-biking in general, I think going to those big contests, like he went to the Audi 9s contest, rode an e-bike there and his hardtail, and he actually won the overall event. He's done such mind-blowing tricks on there as well. Every single video he does on an e-bike.
What about that Whyte guy? That was pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah, Adolf Silver as well, double backflip. I think that's the first double flip I've seen on an e-bike. He's been doing some cool stuff, as well as all the Surrey shredders, Ollie Wilkins, Bernard Kerr, Brendan, making e-bikes cool again for those younger guys. I think it's really inspirational.
Yeah, another one of the classics, of course, is downhill, and I'd pick 3 names. I'd go for Nico Vullios, Josh Bryceland and Bernard Kerr for different reasons. I'd go for Nico because he's brought a technical element into e-mountain biking, also the geometry and the suspension setup. You know, totally obsessed. You know, which comes with a 10-time world champion. And then guys from a different era, you know, the fact that we got Josh Bryceland riding e-bikes and having fun doing them, mucking about on benches and trees and all that. And then Bernard Kerr, which he just makes the riding look so simple. He's on the back wheel, and just having a great time. So, from the downhill point of view, I think there's 2 different aspects there, which we'll probably see a lot more of in the future.
And one guy I think that's definitely pretty inspirational for all ages has got to be Hans Ray, that adventure rider who's literally been to every corner of the earth. He's doing a lot of that on the e-bike stuff now. Seeing Hans doing all those trips is definitely massively inspirational and really opens our minds as, you know, to what can be done on an e-bike. So good to see Hans still at it.
Yeah, so there's our inspirational e-mountain bike moments of the last few years. Now this has to be the week's talking point, is the new Specialized Creo.
Yeah, for sure.
For one reason, how come that bike can assist you up to 28 miles an hour, whereas our Levos are assisted to 15 mile an hour? Now I know there's different countries, but it's still 20 mile an hour in certain countries as the higher limit.
Yeah, I think...
What is going on there?
Wondering how they got around that, whether it's come...
Where's our 28 mile an hour bike?
Some kind of loophole or something. But what is interesting about that bike is there's some big numbers on it. I think it's the lightest motor on the market at the minute, 1.95 kilograms for bottom bracket mounted system. The range on that bike is absolutely huge, isn't it? 195k?
195 kilometres. Obviously, that depends on the rider and the type of terrain you ride in. But still, it's got it's estimated 130 kilometres out of the down tube battery, plus that extra bolt-on battery, which can get you another 65 k's. Now, another interesting thing about this bike is that I was talking to Specialized not so long ago, and they said within 5 years we will be getting e-mountain bikes that weigh around 15 to 16 kilos. And so with bikes like this, you can actually believe them. You know, that's definitely going to be on the horizon.
That bike's 12 kilos, isn't it?
12 kilos.
Yeah, and it's obviously quite a big price tag. It's about $14,000 at the moment. So can I just
remind you something? 12 kilos, 28 mile an hour. Why haven't we got 28 mile an hour bikes?
I don't know, it's good, isn't it? So what's really interesting about this bike, Steve, is that it's actually...
Apart from the 28 mile an hour?
Yeah, more than that. It's actually designed to be rid and turned off as well. So there's absolutely zero resistance in the motor, so you can, as I say, ride it off. Or when you go above that, what was it, 28 mile an hour?
28 miles an hour.
There is no resistance whatsoever. So it is a really awesome machine. You know, when you're hitting the hills, the motor's going to kick in and assist you.
And you can turned on.
Cruise on past it.
Turn off to turn on. Cool. Other news this week, well actually it was last week, new Mondraker Level and Crafty e-mountain bikes with the Bosch motors. Again, sizing, small to extra large, but for me, a key story here is the fact that they've actually shortened their chainstays on the bike. Now the chainstay on a Mondraker e-bike previously was quite long. I think it was like $493 for some of their bikes. Obviously, sorry to bore you about chainstay numbers, Chris.
What was the head angle?
Head angle, I don't know the head angle, but it's not as important as the chainstay.
Yeah.
But really nice looking bikes.
Yeah, they do look really good, don't they? They've got all that the geometry going on. The bikes look really cool. 29ers, 27.5.
They've gone for two 29-inch bikes. So they've got the Level RR, which is 180mm up front, 170mm on the rear, 29-inch wheels. And then they've got the Crafty, which is 160 up front, and 150 on the rear, and also 29-inch wheels.
Is that bigger travel one a coil shock, or are they both air?
The big travel one is coil on the rear and air up front,
Something we'll see a bit more of in e-bikes this year.
And to continue the Bosch theme, Whyte have just come out with 2 new e-mountain bikes as well. Also a longer travel and a shorter travel version. And I caught up with the Whyte guys in my local woods recently to have a look at them. British brand Whyte bikes are really well known when it comes to having cutting edge geometry on their mountain bikes. And they're also known for having good value bikes too when it comes to componentry and spec. And their G-Series bikes have become really well received in the mountain bike media. But it's the E-Series bikes, the electric mountain bikes, which I've really been looking forward to having a look at. And here they are, the 180mm and also the 150mm bike. Now, they both come with the recently launched Bosch motor, the Performance CX 4th generation. Now, for those of you who might have been living under a rock, the new Bosch motor is 75 Newton meters, which is the same as the old motor. However, 625 watt-hour battery in both the 180 and the 150 bikes, which means there's a huge range available to you when you're out on the hills. When you look at the size large bike, which is what I would probably ride, I'm 6 foot, looking at 480mm. The medium comes in at 455mm, but get this, they've got an XL with a 505mm reach, which means there's something in there for those riders over 6 foot. That's great news. Now, chainstay length is a vitally important factor of e-mountain bikes. Now, the Whyte number is actually in the middle compared to a lot of e-mountain bikes. 444mm on the 180mm travel bike and 440 on the 150mm travel bike. Now, the reason there's a difference in numbers is because the longer travel bike has a longer front center and also a slacker head angle. We're looking at 64 degrees on the 180 bike and 65 degrees on the 150 bike. Okay, so we've talked about the battery, we've talked about the motor, we've talked about the geometry on this bike, but what about the spec and the pricing on this brace of bikes? Now remember, they come in an RS or an S model in the 150mm and an RS, which is this bike here, for the 180mm travel bike. An Assegai double down tyre on the back. It's got a WTB wheel set. It's got the top of the range Fox 36 fork in there. And the only reason it's black is because they've done that for aesthetic reasons. It's got a coil shock in it. It's got a dropper. It's got code brakes. Remember, it's got XO Eagle on there as well. Anyhow, £5,750. Now, one thing I haven't touched on both these bikes is how Whyte have been able to tilt that motor, which means they've got the center of gravity down really low, which is really important on an e-mountain bike. And if you bear in mind, this is a 635 watt-hour battery, all that weight is super low down. A couple of other things which I've mentioned, especially the 150 bike, is that this too has a double down casing on the back. In this case, it's a high roller. Both bikes come with an all alloy chassis, a Purion display by Bosch, which offers 4 levels of support. We've got Eco, Tour, eMTB, and of course Turbo. So when are they available? Well, they're available to buy right now for delivery sometime later in the summer.
Looks like some pretty exciting stuff coming out from Whyte then, Steve.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you know, 2 different travel bikes, and of course the prices on those bikes are pretty good. We were in the Forest of Dean. There's some guys from up north that actually put their money down already before seeing the bike. Nice. What's interesting for me is different approaches between Mondraker and Whyte. These are 2 classic examples here, using the Bosch motor, both 625 watt-hour batteries. Now, what Whyte have done is they've tipped the motor, which means they can actually get that battery down lower in the down tube. Okay. Yeah. So obviously it makes aesthetically a different looking bike to the Mondraker, where they've got the motor horizontal with the battery above that. So interesting to see 2 different ways of thought on e-bike battery placement. Right, it's time for our weekly climb of the week. Sometimes it's actually crash of the week, but this time is from the Dolomites, right?
Yeah, looks like an epic adventure from Matthias on his Rocky Mountain altitude.
What kind of distance is he doing there?
60k, 1,500 metre ascent, stunning scenery of the Dolomites.
Yes, it's a fantastic video on how to ride in one of the most beautiful places of Earth in the dark.
So in the comments this week, we've had a load of cool ones coming in. We've had a few about last week's show and a few about the Josh Bryceland edit. Chris Till, he's saying, I think it's possible that some people will try out an urban e-bike and then be intrigued by e-mounted bikes, and that'll be good. But the key point is getting people on bikes and get cars out of urban areas as much as possible. Take back towns and cities for the people.
Right on.
Definitely, it's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah. Have you ridden an urban e-bike?
I haven't, not yet. It's got to be on. It's on my to-do list.
Yeah, I definitely should do it. It's great fun. Jim Johnson's got a great comment. So a cracking eMTB t-shirt slogan. It made me grin. I thought you guys might like it. E equals MTB squared.
Like that.
Into that. And go back to the Josh Bryson video where he rides the new Cannondale Moterra. Couple of classics.
Yeah, JC2, he's saying, Rat Boys shredding an e-bike. Man, I hit that play button fast.
Too right,
So did I.
And Daz L, my favourite rider on an e-bike. This guy makes me happy.
And Dave, 160, he's saying, I'll have a pound of whatever Josh is on.
Cannondale Moterra. Check it out.
Just high on life, I think.
Now you know how much you love the bike vault. I'm slowly beginning to think that where in the world is the coolest part of the show.
It is a good part, isn't it?
Really does showcase e-mountain biking. And look at that shot there from New Zealand by Brian on his Scott bike.
Yeah, 69 years old, fourth ride up on the mountain, 1,200 metres and 9.7k. So,
wow, beautiful
climbing. Look at that.
Beautiful stuff, Brian.
Next up, this is in from, well, the author's just says S.
In the Port de Soleil in Rockdenford. Yeah, I know that area.
Rossignol Hardtail. It's a wife's new bike and they just made it up.
So that is the wife, right?
2,200 metres climb as well. So
whoa.
Big climbs going on.
Chris.
Check that out.
That, I mean, you can have a picture of that on your wall, right?
Exactly. There's
Lake
really
Tahoe.
Cool. Yeah. Look at the colour of that water.
Look at the colour, everything about it.
Must do climb apparently.
E-mountain bike heaven.
The Great Flume Trail on the East Shore. Be sure to check it out, he says. Look at that.
Totally. And finally, from the Isle of Wight, down at the Needles.
Yeah, Blake Sampson land.
Yeah.
2019 Turbo Levos with 2 batteries on board. Doing a bit of bike packing. That's what I want to be doing this summer.
Really?
Bike packing, yeah. Let's do a trip.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go?
Wherever you want. Now, coming up on the channel this week is a video that Chris did on your first steps in flight. And this is really important for you guys who want to be the next generation of ambassadors and people progressing the sport of e-mounted bike to the next level, right?
Yeah,
Chris?
if you've never jumped your bike at all, you've never got an inch of airtime in your life, then this video is for you. And on Sunday, we've got something pretty special.
Well, yeah, you know, you were talking about going on an adventure. Now, this really was an adventure with Mark Threlfall from GTN, sorry. This was a massive epic in the Welsh mountains.
He's an Ironman, isn't he?
Ironman versus e-mountain bike. That's out on Sunday.
We're looking forward to that one. Right, I'm pushing the button on the bike vault. It's loading up. Let's get into it then.
Ooh.
Whoa, this one in from Michael. Check this one out, Steve.
Yeah, this is in Arkansas and he's on his Specialized.
Yeah, 2019 Specialized Kenevo.
Looks like he's on the edge of a cliff somewhere.
Looks quite an interesting trail. What are you thinking? Nice. Yeah. Whoa. This is in from Maxime.
In centre of France.
Yeah,
Department of Corrèze.
Spectral On 6.0 2019 bike as well. Look at that. Gotta be, hasn't it? Super nice.
Gotta be.
Whoa.
Ooh, it's a grape. Is this the first grape in the bike vault?
I might have had one on before.
From Otley in Yorkshire.
Yeah, Stephen. Looking like he's been on a big epic adventure on that one.
Nice.
Out for the day.
Like it. Like the rocks.
Do you like that? What are you thinking?
Cool. You said. Nice.
Crank Brothers wheels?
Yeah.
Nice.
Very nice. Ooh.
You need your glasses on for this one.
Oh, crikey, need more than that. This is in Kinveredge in Staffordshire in the UK.
From John.
Some longhorn cattle by the looks of it there.
Yeah, first ride out. It's his 60th birthday present to himself.
John.
Nice present.
Love it. Just get a bit closer in for the next shot. Send it in next week.
Walk a few more feet. Got those cattle in the background. That would have been super nice, but just a nice today, I think.
Yeah.
This one in from Phil.
Hi,
bike
Phil.
Esturo, Hard 7.
This is in Woking. That's in Woking. That looks like it's in the rainforest. Wow.
Nice, I think.
That's nice. Love it, yeah. Ooh, that looks like Lake District territory. Oh,
Yeah.
Northern Ireland, actually. That's in Rostrevor.
From Mark on his Vitus East Summit. Good value, those bikes, aren't they? But this looks pretty good.
I'm thinking...
Hanging out with his Willie. Oh, hanging out with his mate Willie, giving him a hard time on his analog bike.
Was mate Willie's giving him a hard time.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, Chris, what do you think?
Hey, it was super nice. Ryan.
Ooh, like that.
looks
Like
cool.
that. Yeah. North Shields. There's a bit of a British theme to this week's bike vault, Chris.
Focus Jam Squared 2019 model. First ride out on an e-bike. Look at that.
Moment in time. Special moment in time.
Super nice.
Special, super nice. Oh my God.
Dave, 2016 Cube Stereo up on the top of the Cairngorms.
I told you to go to the Cairngorms.
You did, didn't
And
I?
where did you go? You went to Arran in the rain.
Went
the
for a
pair
walk.
of you.
Went for a
pair
walk
of
round the
Egypts.
Isle of Arran.
That's where you should have gone, the
I know.
Cairngorms.
Look at that.
Look at it.
It's got to be super nice.
That could have been you taking that picture up
I
there
know.
instead of on the beach in the middle of Edinburgh.
No, walking around on the Isle of Arran
Yeah.
with a Knievel on my back.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Super nice.
What?
Knievel on your back.
Sorry, the cameraman was carrying a Knievel.
I'm loving this too.
It's nice, isn't it? Chris, Focus E-Summit VR.
Yeah, it's in Aberdare.
Do you know what that is?
I mean, I'm going to be biased. I have to be biased, but I love the stillness of the water there.
Does look good, doesn't it?
The
Epic
Brecon
sunset.
beacons in the background. Lots of classic elements there for a great bike vault shot. It's got to be super nice.
And this is the last one. This is from Simon on his high bike Enduro X-Duro 180. And in Bridport, so not a million miles away from here.
Not a million miles from you, Chris.
No, it isn't. Up and down. I know these trails really well. There are epic climbs.
What was
epic
that?
distance. Up and down the hills all day long. Sister and brother-in-law out on that, so it's
Yeah.
like an epic downhill.
He took his brother-in-law out. She took her brother-in-law out. Well, he did.
Sister and his brother-in-law.
He took his sister-in-law out. Oh, he's
Very
out
fun.
with it. Oh, right, okay, right.
Got
I
it?
was going to say, he's taking his sister-in-law out.
Epic day on the e-bike. I think it's got to be super nice. Steve, it actually isn't the last one. We've got one more.
Oh, that's the Malverns.
Malcolm.
Oh, no, it's not. It's Craigvawr in North Wales. Oh, that's a beautiful shot, that is.
Trek Powerfly LT9.
Ooh, Chris, what do you think?
Gonna end it.
Can I-
give it a bit
can
more
I?
super nice? Yeah, for sure. Nice. Don't forget, we love seeing your bikes here on EMBN. Don't forget to use the upload service here on screen if you want to be featured in next week's show.
Inspirational stuff there. Thanks, guys. So we've talked about progression on this week's show. Check out the video which I did with Josh Bryceland, the former World Cup and World Downhill Champion. Let us know your thoughts. What do you think should be the next big moves on e-mountain bikes? What should Chris Smith be doing to push the boundaries?
What climb should you be doing, Steve, to push the boundaries?
I don't know.
Let's ride up the Shard next, yeah?
The Shard. Well, funny you should say that. I was in London. There's a bridge at the O2. I was thinking that's definitely rideable.
Recce
So don't go pinching my idea. Check it out.
Don't forget, if you've enjoyed the show, give us some thumbs up, drop some comments in the box below, and don't forget to subscribe to EMBN by clicking the globe in the middle of the screen. See you next week.